Hello and welcome. Today we've got Clayton Thomas, and today we are going to be discussing how Trump tramples the mules. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Thomas can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Clay, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you and what have you been up to?
I got banned on Facebook again.
You got banned on Facebook. And what happened? What did you say that got us banned on Facebook? By the way, I've been removed off Facebook 3 times.
I got added on Truth Social, and then I got banned on Facebook. I actually had reposted a post that one of my friends had posted, and because I put it up, they banned me again. She hasn't had any problems, and it was like, okay, here we go again. And about the same time all this was going on, a couple great documentaries come out, which really ties into a lot of it with the truth and how the market is really shifting and changing. And I have to give you credit. Like I sent you a message on WhatsApp last week. Your Telegram channel is amazing. And you posted a documentary, I think it was last week, on the timelines and the time travel, with Trump. And I've studied a lot of Tesla's work, over the past, but that documentary tied so much together. But then when this documentary on the 2000 Mules came out, and then seeing everybody kind of knew what was taking place because it was outlined. But what really got me in this documentary was not the process of what was done. It was how all the data was acquired. Mm-hmm. And I think people really need to understand a really crucial component, that this little device that we like to carry with us that keeps our life in order and keeps us happy and whatnot, there are 300,000 apps that track everything you do. And it brought up a couple thoughts with that. And when they talk about the amount of data that was acquired, the amount of data that they had to go through in order to really show what had been taking place. They said it was a petabyte, which is hundreds of terabytes. It's an insane amount of data that they went through in order to put all of this work together. But you have to go back and remember that in December and January, President Trump said they had everything and they knew exactly what was done and that he stole it. And it got me thinking, the first documentary that I watched that you posted on the time travel standpoint actually explains pretty clearly why he was able to make those statements, because they did already know. They already knew, and he had the feedback. He had himself to provide the information, which just blows you away, right? But if you understand quantum physics, and it makes I don't want to give it all away. I really want everybody to watch the documentary. Go to Nicholas's Telegram channel, go watch the documentary, because you put it together, with your intro and compiling whoever did that documentary, which was amazing. You've got to watch it.
I uploaded it on YouTube. It's on my YouTube. I think it was last week. It's called The Trump Time Travel. And I have to give credit to Jetson White, because he was the one that put the documentary together. I uploaded it. I done a small intro in the beginning explaining that somebody had sent it to me. I actually watched it. I spent 1 hour with my coffee watching it, and boy, did I enjoy it. And I could not hold back but share with the viewers. And honestly, it's great, because I really love the explanation of that bell, the resonance, and how it's such a powerful resonance that can be created, especially in the pyramids.
It created, I don't want to cut you off, but it created the answer. It created the answer for one of the comments that has been manipulated so heavily for so long, right? There was a term called watch the water that was popular a couple of weeks ago on a fear campaign. But if you watch that documentary with what they're talking about, and we understand that we're in a period of ascension, right? Which is also important with what we're doing with Root and how all of this applies. But if we're in a period of ascension and we're quantum, we know that we're highly resonant from a frequency standpoint. And if what has been done is done, and based on a lot of the information that was put in that documentary and how well it's compiled, you really can't argue with a lot of it because it's all facts. Those things took place. I was going back in my head remembering some of those events that they talked about with the aurora that was showing up over, the northern United States, that in the Midwest, that doesn't happen here. And you look at those components and you go, wait a minute, this is what they meant by watch the water. Because if they're going to do if we're going to have a response from a frequency standpoint, and since the globe is our world as it lies, however you want to look at its construction, 70% plus water. And we know that sound and frequency resonates higher underwater and is amplified underwater than on soil going up, then we would never know what's being done because they would do it in a part of the world that's completely uninhabited, unknown, where they can get the things done that they need to do. And there won't be any casualties. There would be no outside influence that would even understand it. And when that time takes place, it's going to be a wake-up call. And that gets into the resonance of us when we talk about our ascension and how we've been polluted and poisoned for multiple generations to get us to this tipping point, right? Because if we look at the timelines, we're at this unique precipice right now where we see the divide between good and evil. I mean, you're able to pretty well differentiate who's good, who's bad in many aspects of life right now, whether it's due to behavior, whether it's due to how they position themselves, whether it's talking points, or just how this world is affecting people. You kind of know which side you lie on. And if you're in the middle, guess what? You're so poisoned and you're so polluted that you're under control and you're not understanding what's going on. And when we created Root, Christina was prophesized to be the being that was put here to heal people in a war on healthcare over 20 years ago. And what we've seen already in the last 2 years clinically, with tons of evidence, with clinical case studies and outcomes, that what she's created is the mechanisms and the tools that is allowing people to clean this operating system out, really hitting Control-Alt-Delete to upgrade your operating system, get rid of the metals, the graphene that people are familiar with, the fluoride that's calcified your pineal gland, boost your dopamine and serotonin production naturally. So this amazing operating system has the fuel it needs to run the way it's capable of running. And then you can make that shift, going from in the middle to the good side, because we're not made to be dark, right? So the majority of us, the 96% of this population, is good. So what you have to do is make that shift. And it's a matter of choice, and it's a matter of investment in yourself, because it's not going to be done for you. And being able to have all of this information really starting to come out, but no one's going to tell you directly, this is how it's all done, right? It's a matter of, you have this, you have this, you have this. You have to be engaged. And as you're able and more capable of identifying the information that's being provided, disseminate the information, process the information, then you get to see a much bigger picture. And it's the difference of sheep and shepherds that we talk about so often now, because most people are blind to what's really gone on. We're not aware of it. And the awakening, like we talked about on our last conversation, you can be aware of stuff, but the awakening that comes from actually being able to apply all of it only comes from cleaning up your pineal gland, cleaning up this system, getting your gut, your heart, your brain, your pineal gland, your third eye, your crown chakra, however you want to look at it, your heart chakra, your gut, so you're grounded. You have your root chakra, funny, kind of important, that you line up all of those, you get your body functioning and resonating higher, that when we have these events that we get to ascend, you're going to be able to receive those signals. Because if you haven't done those things, you're not going to be one that really receives all the benefits from it. So one, I've got to applaud you. And one, I have to shame you because you didn't ask Michael about his root experience when you had the JCO experience a couple of days ago. But it's been really interesting and intriguing.
Of course, I'm going to have to ask him. I want to ask you as well. And, many of us want to unplug ourselves from the matrix. And one of the things that I found interesting about that documentary as well was the blue kachina, which is something that's out in the universe that allows for us to ascend. And Trump said in the State of the Union speech, he says, those who understand our spirits or those who understand how the spirit works, the blue kachina is the only way. And the blue kachina is apparently somewhere in the stars. It's in our dome now, and we're about to enter it. And it's a little bit like time travel, if you like, where, the deep state will be left behind because they are not supposed to be here. So they are unsealed humans and they're evil. So they would be left behind. Now, the more we unplug ourselves from the matrix now, will it be easier for us to accept and soothe into the new world later?
Yeah, and that's the key, right? Because what you have to look at is receiving the frequencies. Like we talk about people being able to download, right? It all comes through the spiritual center of our brain. It's your pineal gland. If that's calcified, the connection to source, the connection to, the blue kachina, the connection to God, right, is disconnected. And that's the whole campaign that you can say the deep state, however you want to get into, the satanic component that we've been put into. And that's what's really crucial. This is Satan's playground, right? Mm-hmm. And we were put here to see if we were going to improve this environment. And there's been battles in the past. If we look at Atlantis and what happened, that there was a great process that was taking place, and then shit went bad, right? And bad guys endured, and things collapsed. But when it comes to the ascension standpoint, and it ties in the 5G conversation that people are worried about with healthcare and such, that we are an antenna, right? The question is, what frequencies is this antenna working to receive? If you're loaded with mercury, lead, aluminum, arsenic, graphene, fluoride, glyphosate, all of the metals, the toxins, the pollutants that we're exposed to from conception all the way through our lifespan, those are what resonate with the negative frequencies that are being used to manipulate the environment, right? But if you clean those out, you decalcify your pineal gland, which we're really, really good at, you open up your primary antenna to be able to receive the information from source again. Mm. And when you do that, then when this event transpires at whatever point it does, those that are able to connect quickly are going to see that event take place. Is there going to be an opportunity for transition for a lot of people? Yeah, I hope so. Do we know how that's going to play out? No. But what we do know is that if you're not receiving all of the signals and all of the frequencies and all of the benefits, you're not going to get all of the benefits that we're made to. And I'm just excited to see how it plays out. If we get to do a little star travel and we get to go to another environment, or if they just suck out all the negative people, all the darkness that's here, and we get to see what our playground really is, right? Because when we look at being in the matrix, and we know in the matrix, they can construct it based on their desire and what they want to create as a landscape. And if that's the case, if it's our intention that creates our world, which it is, then if we get rid of the negative, we can reconstruct our humanity here. We don't have to leave. So it's going to be really interesting. It'll be one hell of a show.
You said that this is like, a satanic playground, which they have created, they have fabricated here on earth before our eyes, very slowly, without us even realizing. However, on the other hand, I have to be positive and say that without the darkness, we wouldn't understand light.
Absolutely. And we know if you can go into the darkest cave, the darkest pit, the darkest room, and if you light one candle, you get to start to see what's around you. But when you take a whole bunch of candles into that environment, and we know that the light will illuminate everything around you, it will expose darkness. And that's the beauty of the entire process. Is it's been the hard part when you look at the spiritual base, and we can look at the Christian base in the United States with how flawed the entire system is because of the satanic control, right? We are spiritual beings. I'll use this in this way. In my opinion, the religious organizational structure globally, Catholicism, Protestantism, the way that the Christian base has been set up through churches and such, and through those philosophies, have been a satanic base to control the population, to give us an opportunity to understand what we are spiritually, but to still control it. And as we begin to wake up and we begin to realize that what we're going through is not a political issue. This is a battle for Western civilization. This is a battle against true Christianity. What is true Christianity? It's our personal relationship with Christ, or with the light. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's crucial for people to understand, because the Christian religious right has a complete disconnect from what true spirituality is. But they don't get the symbolism, because in every image of Christ, typically you see light. You go to church, which it's been a long time since I've gone, because I choose to walk, teach, and heal and learn from that which I'm modeled from, not have to go to an environment where they want my money so they can traffic more kids. But if you understand the imagery that's always discussed with Christ, he was light. Mm-hmm. So follow the light. We're not supposed to follow an individual. We're supposed to follow the light.
And following the light, I think the pineal gland has to be open.
It's the light center of the brain, no matter how you want to look at it. If you want to look at it spiritually, the pineal gland spiritually is known as the light center of the brain. If you want to look at it anatomically and physiologically, it's the light center of the brain. Anatomically, physiologically, it controls your circadian rhythm. It controls your sleep-wake cycle. It controls your dream process. It controls melatonin production. Oh, that's kind of important for your immune function, as people have learned here recently because of what's going on. Why is it that you see so many sleep commercials, pillow commercials, all drug commercials to help you sleep, supplement commercials for melatonin? Because they've controlled you. They know how to turn it off. They just load you with fluoride. They're like, oh, you need melatonin. No, if you decalcify your pineal gland and you boost your dopamine and serotonin levels, the serotonin will convert to melatonin, so you go to sleep. You get an extra conversion to DMT while you're sleeping, and you get a dopamine kick in the morning, so you wake up. This is biochemistry. Your pineal gland controls all of that. But on the other side, the spiritual component is right there as well. It's the light center of the brain. If you block it, you block both. So you clean that up, boost everything, you're ready to go.
Your wife, Dr. Christina, she went to obviously medical school. Do you think they trained her in medical school about these types of things? Do they? It's a great approach, right? Because you get into the spiritual component of what someone's made to do. And that
intelligent design is absolutely amazing. That she remembers sitting on God's lap when she was 6 and having a conversation because she was having a tea party. She had an experience that scared her a bit. And then she remembers having this setting to where she was sitting there and he's like, "You're my child, you're going to be fine. And you're made to do some things and do your thing." So was it getting a master's degree in science and psychology, and then a PhD and a PsyD and an EDD and postdoctoral work at Harvard in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering and Cornell in pharmaceutical management, and one in nutritional counseling, and working at Pfizer, Alexion, Biogen, IDEC, Johnson & Johnson, UCB, Bristol Myers Squibb, Janssen? No, all of that is part of the journey. And what I've seen from being with her now for the 5th lifetime, at least that's what people told us, and the last one, and where we are and where she's been, what she's done. Lyme disease when she was 19, lost her memory. She had a photographic memory growing up as a child, wiped clean when she was 19. Took 2 years for her to recover, but she came out of it with an eidetic memory and the ability to speed read. Mm-hmm. And having a brain tumor, having a spinal tumor, having multiple kinds of skin cancer, losing multiple kids to cancer, having a 17-year-old who had cancer when he was 2. And all of these many people would call challenges or experiences, all play into account getting her to the point where she was then ready to step into the role that she was made to do. And I think it's the important part for every one of us to understand that we are, as she states in her book, and Cure the Causes, which everyone really should read. It's starting to go crazy online now. But you have to understand that we are all individual, unique, flawed pieces to a perfect puzzle. We're each imperfect pieces to this perfect puzzle. So while she has her purpose, I can't look at you and go, "Man, I want to be like Nicholas because I want amazing hair and I want to have my show. I want to have the cool accent." But that's not my purpose, right? That's your purpose. And I take my imperfect piece and your imperfect piece, and a lot of these imperfect pieces, we begin to put this collage together and we see how everybody fits. And that's what's crucial. She was put here, and I'm not shitting you when I say this. She is the solution. She has created the solutions to what's going on. We've proven that clinically, but the ascension aspect, she's done. And she's doing things now with such ease and fluidity. She doesn't put together what she's doing per se of just saying, "Oh," because I get to watch this part because it's where my mission and purpose is to serve her and to take what she's created to do and bring out, which is why I created Root. But being able to understand that when you're in the zone, right? When you talk about being in the flow of an event or anything, things just come to you and things become simple. What she's doing is she's continually creating this cascade of solutions that are changing the way people are constructed, that are changing lives, but are allowing people to become the best version of themselves. And I think that's the key to ascension, is just every day getting a little bit better, right? Just little by little. And you're going to have hiccups in that process because we've been so polluted, because we're so toxic spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, because of the environment we've been in, that it's not, "Oh, I'm going to feel amazing in day one." No, it's a process. Mm-hmm. And as you go through that, you get to really understand of what we're made for and from. And she's just part of that process.
Absolutely. Well, Clayton Thomas, it's been a great honor to have you. Thank you so, so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers today before we finish?
Yeah, one little piece of advice. Click on the link below here. It takes you to the rootbrands.com/the solution, which is referred by Nicholas Veniamin. Do what he's done. Do what Michael Jacob's doing. Do what Sasha Stone's doing. Simon Parks, the rest of these guys. Try this stuff.
We're all trying this stuff. I have to say it's great stuff, and it's empowered me, and it's really good. Now, thank you. I'll leave the link below, and we'll speak very soon. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you.
God bless. Thanks for having me.